Welcome to the Queer Ambition podcast. Today we are joined by Tiq Milan. So excited. Tiq Milan is a media maker, journalist, and advocate. Tiq has been an advocate in the LGBT community for over a decade. He is also a writer and consultant who carved a niche for himself as a media advocate and one of the leading voices for transgender equality. Gotta be honest, if you haven't heard of Tiq, I don't know what you've been doing. You've been under a rock, bruh. So shout out to Tiq for joining us today and welcome to the podcast, Tiq.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm super stoked to be here.
Of course. So just want to let you know what we're doing today. We're going to go through our icebreaker questions. Yes, they are new, they are improved, and they are full of hot mess shit.
Yes.
After that, we're going to go into the topic of the week, which is being queer and raising a family. Then we got some questions from our listeners related to just anything they were curious about the trans community, about Tiq. So he's going to share some of his thoughts on that. And that's what we have for you today. All right. Take it away, Soko.
All right. So we're going to go into these icebreaker questions, right? So I'll ask a question and we'll all answer it. And I might pry a little bit because I want to know a little bit more. So let's go into it. All right. First question. Your partner says they do not want to introduce dishonesty into the relationship. So with your permission, they would like to sleep with someone else. What are you doing? A, giving your blessing. B, thanking them for honesty, then breaking up. Or C, telling them no, but staying with them.
For me, I'd give my blessing. I think non-monogamy can be healthy in a relationship as long as all parties involved are open and are honest. But I mean that yes will come with like, we need to have a deeper conversation about who this person is, and do I get to meet this person? Is this someone that's going to be a part of our lives? Is this somebody we get to play with together, or is it just a you thing? Safety and all those things. So there would be a larger discussion, but I'm all down for non-monogamous and polyamorous relationships.
Wow. Are you currently in a non-monogamous relationship?
Interesting question. I am.
Okay. That is awesome. I was not expecting that response. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Okay. Soko.
Almost what Tiq said, it really depends what we've talked about, because I do identify, of course, as being polyamorous, but I'm going to give my blessing, but we need to talk about it more. And what that looks like for both of us.
Work this shit out.
Right. Work it out. And then if we agree, yeah. And if we don't, then it's a no, and that's okay.
It's a funny thing. So I think I'm like on this sliding scale in my relationship sometimes. Sometimes I'm like super secure and like, yeah, she could do whatever. And then sometimes I'm like, nah, babe, I really need you to just be with me and up under me. So currently I'm going to say no. At this point right now, I'd be like, nah. But that may change. We can revisit it. I'd be like, can you just keep this person in the tuck like for another time? So right now it would be a no.
Well, listen, ain't no in the tuck. I don't know what the tuck look like, but all right.
Yeah, I think are pretty fluid. All right, guys.
So next question. The best vibe you've ever had with someone is also coupled with the worst sex of your life. What do you do? Stick it out regardless because sex ain't better than love, or let it go?
You gotta go, shorty. I'm sorry. You gotta go. We could be friends, okay? But we vibing, and you don't know what you're doing, and sex is awful. But I mean, is sex ever really like bad?
Yes.
Bad.
I mean, I was thinking like sex is kind of like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still kind of good because it's pizza. No.
No. I once had an interesting situation where amazing sex, like mind-blowing, but couldn't kiss. And I was like, can't do it. Had to let it go because kissing is so important to me. So for me, let it go. Let her ass go.
What made her a bad kisser?
I don't know how to describe it. A lot of teeth in the front, like
biting you, like biting your lips, or
clash in the front.
Like your
I
teeth
don't
are
know.
like giving each other high fives.
Yeah. And it was just like,
Oh,
this isn't, it was bad. And it was sucks because, you know, that's so part of what can make sex enjoyable, at least in my opinion. And sometimes I would like avoid the kiss. I'd be like, come on, babe, let's just
so was that like a one-time thing?
No, we know we kept doing it. We were
You kept trying.
because the sex was so good. I was like, I just, you know, we just won't kiss. That's fine. That just won't be what we do, you know. But I had to let it go eventually for many reasons. But yeah, that was one of them.
Feel that.
Yeah. For me, I'm letting it go. Nah, I'm good on that.
Are you? I'm surprised that you. So I'm sure you're not like her energy and her vibrations.
Who are you talking to? Where are you talking? All right. Last question. Crazy as hell. On your wedding day, a guest unknowingly brings a +1 that used to be your fling. Not just a regular fling. Like, y'all was, you know, just having sex for like a year or so. At the reception, your spouse asks if you know them. What do you say? A, yes. B, no. C, I used to. Or D, yes, but it was just sex.
I think a D. I think a D, not a yes but a yes and. Like yes and we used to fuck.
Okay, I like that answer. I like the switch up on that. Yeah, it's not a but, it's just an end. It's okay. Get married.
And what do you think, Soka? What do you think, Soka?
Oh yeah, but it was just sex. Who cares?
In all honesty, my partner would be livid. If there was someone that like was on the guest list that she didn't know about that I had previously had sex with, I can see the blow up. But I still would be honest and say yes. It was yes, but I'd be like, babe, come on, it was mad long ago. You know, it wasn't even that good, babe. Me lying. It probably was mad good.
But here's the thing: did you know that they were on the guest list before they showed up?
No, it's unknowingly, right? You didn't know,
So
right? It's a +1.
Yeah.
Someone brought.
And I'll be like, yeah, and she, you know, she's seeing someone else now. She happy. Like, we happy, everybody happy. I would try so hard not to make it be a thing.
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to dive into the topic of the week. The topic of the week is being queer and raising a family. Our guest, Tiq Milan, is very experienced in this currently. And so we invited him here to talk to us about that because we know that there might be a lack of visibility of that normalcy of achieving that ability to have a family and being in a loving relationship. And so often we're seeing that our trans brothers and sisters are being killed. And, you know, the only celebration that we often have is like when they happen to be on a TV show or, you know, those small victories. Yeah. So we'd really like to shine light on just Tiq's happiness. So let's go into that now. So Tiq, for those that don't know, how did you meet your girlfriend?
Okay. All right. So there's a lot happening here right now. Okay, there's a lot going on right here. So everybody knows, you know, Kim and I have been married for 5 years. We have a daughter together. Kim and I are in the middle of a divorce. Okay. So when I say my girlfriend, I'm not talking about Kim. I'm not, you know, Kim and I, she lives in Toronto. I live in New York City. Right now we're in the middle of a divorce and trying to figure out, you know, the things that divorced people got to figure out. Child support, visitation, all those things. Like, you know, all the things that come with being married when a marriage disintegrates is...
Yo, even more complex than we had. You know what's funny is that when so Tiq was communicating with us prior to the podcast and he said girlfriend and I was like, oh shit, I thought that was his wife.
Damn. So you just blew shit the fuck up, literally.
Yeah. So that's what's happening right now. So that's what's happening. And I'm in another relationship, and that's what's happening. You know, Kim and I, Kim and I are married for 5 years. I'm not gonna get too much into my business, but you know, she and I have been separated for a while now, and it was a mutual separation while we were trying to figure out if we could kind of mend the broken pieces in our marriage, and we couldn't. So now we're on the road to divorce. That's happening.
Okay.
I'm in another relationship with a wonderful woman. She's great. She's New Yorker. She's good people. Yeah.
Okay, that's dope. That was a revelation.
Yes.
Wasn't expecting that, but thank you for being. Thank you for feeling comfortable to share that.
Yeah,
And
But
yeah,
your child, your baby girl, that is with Kim.
Yes. My daughter
Okay.
is with Kim. She is now with Kim. Like Kim is our primary parent. Obviously, she's her mom. So we're just trying to work out, how to make sure that Soleil is my baby. I'm sure if you follow me on social media, see how much time I spent with my daughter. I ended up moving back to New York City, not because of Kim and I's relationship, but because I got a job offer here. Job offer that paid very, very nice, and I couldn't turn it down. So I was like, I gotta go. I'm out. So I moved back to New York. And while I was here, Kim and I were still trying to work things out, but we mutually decided it wasn't working. So we're trying to do this as amicably as possible. So my daughter is with Kim. And yeah, so that's the thing about being queer and raising a family, just having a family period and entering into a marriage, into a legally binding contract with someone. There you always run the risk of that marriage disintegrating. Nothing lasts forever. I didn't go into my marriage thinking that in 5 years we would be divorced. I went to my marriage thinking this is the one I'm going to spend the rest of my life with.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't happen. And so it's just, so I think the scary part of it for me as a trans man is making sure that my rights are protected as her father. Making sure that no parties involved get in the way of me continuing to have a healthy and loving relationship with my daughter. That's really my main concern. But there's that extra level of anxiety because I don't know. I don't know if you go to a judge who may be conservative. I have an attorney that I paid thousands of dollars to. I don't know what their personal politics are, if they're really going to go as hard as I need them to go to ensure that things are fair for me. So that is a concern, but as of right now, things have been okay. But I'm still a father, I'm still a family man. I'm still in that space. It's just things look a little different.
Absolutely. And, I don't know if this is too personal, but you are recognized as her father, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm her daddy. I'm on her birth certificate. That's it. No, so that's good. No one can really, no one can really take that away from me. But there is a place of anxiety around, what if they can? What if there's some loophole? What if there's something where someone can try to nullify my position as her father? I would never let anybody do that. I would fight until my last breath, until my last dime. No one's gonna take my baby from me, But I don't think that that's neither here nor there. I think that Kim and I are gonna, things are difficult right now, to say the least. But I do believe that she and I will get to a place where we can have better communication, where we can really co-parent in a really healthy way. So my whole thing about co-parenting is and that's what I tell Kim, even though things she and I are in a difficult place, we have to get to a place where we have love between each other. We do have I love her. She's my wife, she's mother, my child. We went through a lot together. That love has changed, has shifted, but the love should still always be there. There should always be the undercurrent, whether it's us co-parenting, us just being really good friends and raising this baby the best way we can, and having open and honest communication about what her life is like and what's going on with her, on a regular basis. And that's where I want to get to. I think that we will. And for me, the blueprint for that was my parents. My parents divorced when I was 3. I really don't even remember them being together, but my father was always there. My father lived around the corner from us. He used to come over for dinner, and my mom used to talk on the phone. They were really good friends. When my mother died, he cried the hardest. You know what I'm saying? They really remained really, really good friends. My mother used to tell me, me and your father are better now as friends. If that man was living here, I'd have killed him. I can't even tell you. But I'm so glad that I call him, he's in your life. And that's a relationship that I hope that Kim and I could get to. And I think that we will.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I see, you guys, this is probably fresher. You'll grow into that. But I want to reverse back a little bit because, for someone queer like myself, one of the questions me and my partner always have is how do we know when we're ready to start a family? Right? When you guys were together, when did you know that you both were ready?
Well, Kim and I got married. I don't know if you know the story, but I asked Kim to marry me after only knowing her for 2 weeks. And I hadn't even met her in person yet. We talked on Facebook. And I was like, let's get married. She was like, okay. And we got married. We met in January, we got married in May. We were married for 5 years. So when we first got together, she was like, I'm letting you know right now, I want to have a baby. I'm trying to have a baby, I want a baby. And I was like, go and get pregnant. You bring your pregnant ass over here. I'm gonna take care of you and all whatever babies you got. Cause I was just so head over heels for her. So she was already in a place where she was really, really ready. And I think just biologically, as a woman, this just things are happening in her body that were telling her that she was ready to have a child. And as a man in a relationship, as a masculine person, I had to defer to that. Like, this is what you want. And also as a trans man who I can't give that to you. Like, I can't make a baby. I'm going to support you on that journey, however it looks. So I think for us, she just knew, like, in her body and in her spirit, that the one thing, her calling, was to be a mother. And I've always wanted to be a father. I've always wanted to be a dad. But I think that when it comes to knowing when you have a child, you're going to know when you know. When there's really just no doubt left, when it's like, I got to do this shit. Like, this is something that's super important to me and I got to do it. And you're going to do it. Because I'm telling you right now, if it don't move you like that, if it doesn't feel like, if there's not a deep aching hunger for it, don't do it. Okay?
Yeah.
Queer people, whether you're having, or whoever you're having sex with, whatever that's looking like, we still have the choice to choose when and how we have a family. I mean, unless, you know what I'm saying? Like, whether you're having sex with cis men or trans men or cis women or trans men, whoever, you know what I'm saying? We still have the place to really be intentional about making a family. So, like, take that fucking seriously. And, like, be really, really intentional, because having a kid is no joke. It's so much work. It's so much responsibility. It's so much money. You know what I'm saying? It really just changes your life in so many different ways, So it's something to really, really seriously think about. But you got to really feel it. And you got to just put yourself in it and do it, and just do it. And if you keep, like, questioning yourself about it, maybe it's not for you. Or if you try to question yourself out of it, you try to talk yourself out of it, you're never going to do it. And then, you get old, wake up one day older, not have any kids, and be like, damn, I should have did it when I had the chance. I should have did it when I thought I was ready. So if you feel like you want kids, you really feel in your heart, do it.
See, that's the thing about kids, though, right? Because me and my partner, we go back and forth all the time. One day we want kids, the next we have the names picked out and everything, right? One day we want kids, the next day we don't. So it's like, when will we always question, when will we ever be like, yeah, fuck it, we're having kids?
What's stopping you? What's the block?
Okay, so the block is, I think about time, right? Once I have this child, I feel like everything is all about them now, right? I have to make sure they're safe, protected, cared for 24/7. Even after they are 18 and out of my house, they will still be the first priority in my mind. Am I ready to have that type of anxiety?
Are you ready? Are you?
I don't know. I feel like in some way, like, I like somewhat of control, and having a kid lets a little bit go of that control, right? Sure. As they get older, I don't know what they're going to do when they leave the house, or when they go to school, what's going to happen to them. And when they're away from me, what am I going to be like?
Yeah, that's real. I think that's just vulnerability that comes with loving someone with all of your heart. You know what I'm saying? And when you have a child, the way I love my daughter is nothing like I've ever experienced before. And it's scary. Think if somebody was to hurt her, or if I didn't know where she was, like that, it makes me sick to my stomach. But you can't let the vulnerability of loving someone so much keep you from that love. Okay. It's a part of being a parent. And kind of just busting through that vulnerability and having the courage to say, I'm ready to have a little person in my life forever and take care of them.
And that was a word, what you just said.
Yeah.
And that can apply to relationships too. Like, don't let your fear, right, your fear of that keep you away from that love. Vulnerability keep you away from that love. I was curious, that at any point did you two ever consider staying together for your baby?
I think that there was part of our relationship where we were together for her. And it just stopped working. The thing is like, we can't, because to stay together for our child, and for us to have these difficulties in our communication, our relationship, for her to see that, it's just a detriment to her. It'd be better for us to be separate spaces and have some distance between us and be able to rebuild a loving relationship than to stay together under one roof and really like can't stand each other. Because she, she's a little baby, and it ain't like we were arguing or like physical or verbal, anything like that. But there was an energy there. There was a tenseness that was happening. You know what I'm saying? And my baby girl's first example of love is what she's going to see between her parents. And I didn't want her to see this tense kind of love, this walking on eggshells kind of love. So I think at the end of the day, people do that all the time. They stay together for the kids, but they end up just fucking your kids up. You know what I'm saying? If you gotta go. People stay because of they have, their finances are intertwined, or they have to stay because they're dependent on each other. That's one thing. But just staying because of the kids, I think does them a detriment.
You're absolutely right.
Exhaust all your efforts to stay together.
Right.
Once you're done, you're done. And then another thing is you don't want to people start to resent their children. Because you stay in a relationship 10, 15 years with somebody you may have fallen out of love with, or you're not getting along with. You're miserable, they're miserable, and you're like, I did this for this fucking kid. And that's wrong. That's wrong.
Right.
We have to make ourselves happy. We have to be happy and be at our best selves in order to raise happy children who are going to be at their best selves as well.
That is so true. That is so true. And I don't think that any child wants to see their parents so unhappy, just to say they have two parents living in the same house.
Oh,
for me, as a child that came from two people that actually were never married and that were separated, that weren't together, I think I would have resented my father so much if my parents would have stayed together, because I knew how much he hurt my mother, and cheating on her and doing everything that he was doing. So it benefited them. They don't know it, but they didn't do it for me, but I'm glad that they did it.
For sure.
Because I don't think we'd have the relationship that we have now if he would have stuck around.
That's real. That's real.
So I feel like when you think about relationships, right, it takes a lot of time and energy, right? And when you have a child, it takes a lot of time and energy. Yeah. So you have these two dynamics in your life that take a lot of time and energy. Mm-hmm. So like, how do you balance the two, right? Trying to maintain your relationship, but then also having a child. And then in cases, I feel like sometimes when people have a child, that adds more strain on the relationship, and then that relationship dissolves.
Yeah, that is true. That definitely happens. I don't think that was my case. You're right. It's a lot of energy in a relationship. Maintaining a marriage is a lot. Maintaining a marriage is a fucking lot of work. I don't know, ever get married again. It's so much work.
It's harder than being in just a relationship, right? Just being partners, not saying that you're married.
Why?
Because if you're not married, you can just up and walk away. When you're married to someone, you legally bonded to someone. And I don't know how spiritual you are, but you've kind of taken these vows, like before your creator, before the spirituality, before your God, and say, like, this is the person I'm vowing my life to. Once you really do that, once you enter into that ritual, you do that, something clicks, something happens. There's a sense of profound like loyalty and commitment to this person. And it's like, I'm entered into this with you. I'm going to sign all these goddamn papers. I'm legally connected to you. I took vows before my God that I was going to be with you. I'm going to fucking do this. And not for nothing, getting divorced ain't no joke. It's expensive. You got to separate all your shit. When you're not married, you can just be like, you know what? I'm done. Let me just find my new apartment and good luck to you. It just doesn't work like that when you're married. It's just, there's so much more that goes into it. But back to your first question about the energy thing. I know for me, being married takes up a lot of energy. Having a kid takes up a lot of energy, but it was different. Like, my daughter would get up at, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, every morning. And I would get up with her and I'd feed her breakfast and I'd clean up after her and I'd play with her. And I would be dog tired and it would be a lot. Sometimes, she'd get on my nerves because she was doing so much. But it was still so rewarding. Like, there was still no place I'd rather be. I didn't mind being that tired because I was just up with my baby, or dealing with her fussiness or her pooping in her diaper and taking her diaper off. I'm like, look, shit, my diaper. Like, just little things to do, gross stuff. But it was no other place that I would rather be. So it was energy well spent. But I think that resentment does happen when people don't have that kind of view of parenting. And I think that happens when people aren't really intentional about being parents. Like, Kim and I were really, really intentional about having a baby. We were preparing for it and knowing that how it was going to change everything. Like, I was ready to not, go out every night. When Kim and I were together, so that first year of Soleil's life, we didn't go anywhere. Like, there was just nothing. We were just in the crib watching scary movies, you know what I'm saying? And trying to get to bed by 11. You know what I'm saying? No going out, couldn't smoke as much weed as I wanted to, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Couldn't fuck as much as I wanted to. Like, it was just a lot, it was a lot, but it was okay because we were prepared for it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. That preparation is key, in what you just said, and being prepared for it, and almost like preparing your relationship for it is what it sounds like you have to do too.
And preparing your life to change. Your life is going to change so much when you have a kid. It's not a game.
Right. And your pockets.
I really want people to think about, like, I think about that all the time. Like, I want my kid to have a good life. You know, like, I'm not going to bring a child into this world and they can't go on vacations and see things. I'm not going to keep my kid in the house. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's important to me. Another question for you I was curious about came from a coworker of mine. I was brainstorming with a coworker, like, I got Tiq Milan coming on the podcast. What would you ask? So she said to me, because she's a parent, and she said, do you ever worry about her growing up and hearing, negative comments from ignorant kids or their families about, her father or even about her mother?
Yeah. You know what? It's not necessarily a worry. My biggest worry for my daughter, this little black girl, is when she's going to get her heart broken. How I'm going to help her weather that. Or if and when, I was going to be honest, if and when she gets assaulted, I would tell you right now, 90% of the black women I know have experienced some type of sexual assault in some kind of way. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if that is something my daughter has to go through. What am I going to do as her father to help her work through those things? That's the shit that worries me. You know what I'm saying? As far as like ignorant people, I don't really worry about that too much because I'm very queer. Her mother is very queer with very queer lives. Everybody in our life is really queer. And we've been really intentional about building family, chosen family and blood family, the people that we fuck with are people who are really affirming and who, kind of live the same life as us. We would, Kim and I aren't together, but I think that she and I are on the same page where we would never put her like in a school system where she was surrounded by, well, she's going to be the only black girl. That shit ain't happening. Or if she's going to be, surrounded by ignorant folks who don't understand me as her father and don't understand the type of like queer family that she comes from. So we've been very, very intentional about that. She'll probably be homeschooled and all of those things. But for me, that's my biggest concern is when she's going to get her heart broken, how she's going to weather the pain of being a black woman in this world. What am I going to do for her then? If she decides to be a woman, who knows? I mean, I'm already assigned a gender to her. I can't do that right now because I'm her daddy. But, there may come a time when her gender identity is going to be different, but more than likely not. Most people are cisgender folks. So who knows? Who knows? But I do worry about that.
It's all what ifs, right? So it's just what if.
Yep.
So going from that, so what does a blended family look like for you in the future?
Oh, girl.
That's your last question about family. So come on.
God damn. Blended family. I mean, so like, I'm with someone who has children. Kim is with someone that has children. We have children together. I would like for all the adults involved to be friends, right? To have a really good relationship, to build a village around our children, to really come from a place that's all love. There's a fluidity of love that really exists between all of us. Now, that may be a very kind of like utopia kind of idea, but I think that it can be really possible, particularly with queer people. And that's, I think, what's the beauty of queer folks is that what we do is we redefine what it means to be in this world. We redefine who we are, how our gender presentation is, who we love, how we fuck, how we create family, how we worship. You know what I'm saying? So why can't we redefine what our families look like? So I think a blended family, it can look just like, it can just be blended, where we're all kind of, I would love for, me and my ex-wife and my current partner, and maybe Kim's current partner, I don't know what she's doing over there, but, if we could we spend a holiday together? Could we bring everybody together and just do this really big, beautiful black queer thing? That's what I would really like to do.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of maturity to do that, and it takes a lot of healing to do that. And it takes a lot of confidence in ourselves and in our partnerships to do that. But I don't think it's something that is impossible.
I feel that you got to manifest that. You're manifesting it right now. Put it into the air. It'll happen.
That's what I'm working towards.
Yeah.
I'm imagining it and it sounds beautiful. I mean, it's because that's all you want, like at the holidays. You just want people you love and people you know.
Yeah,
You
people you
know?
love and you trust, and
So you trust,
know,
yeah.
you've been through some shit, but you like, we made it through that. We made it through that bigger and better, and here we are. Like that's what it's all about. That's what I would love to see.
Teak, I mean, I gotta tell you, like, thank you so much for, being so honest and being so transparent and sharing this with us.
Yeah, I can't front.
Fuck, I'm not gonna lie. Fuck. Cause I spent a day looking at you and what I thought was your family. So amazing. And thank you for talking to us about, and again, being honest about something that's difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult.
So
but it's the truth. It's the truth.
and that is all you seem to give, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Now we're going to transition into some of our listener questions. So listeners that submitted questions, here is your time. The first question, how did trans folks navigate the healthcare system in terms of finding doctors and specialists?
I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I think I haven't had a whole lot of issues. I haven't had a whole lot of issues navigating the healthcare system because I live in New York City. And living in New York City, there's a privilege in living in a big city, in a big liberal city, and that there's tons of resources here. So I know for me, what I did was I started off going to the Callan Lord Center here in New York City, which is an LGBT medical clinic. I still go there. I've been going there for 2 years now, and they specifically cater to LGBT folks. So it was nothing for me to walk in and see other trans people and other gender variant people working there and there as patients. I really felt like it was home there. Things there were really affordable. But what I do find for folks who don't have this privilege is actually people really congregating in online spaces and sharing resources there. Like when I first started to understand that I was trans back in, I started my medical transition in 07. I remember back in 04, I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I have all these feelings. I was super butch, but I was like, this butch thing is cool, but it ain't hitting no more. And I don't know what to do next. I found a group it was called Urban Trans Men. This was years ago. I'm dating myself. This was years ago. People used to use urban instead of black, right? Urban Trans Men. And it was a group of it was a Yahoo group of 400 black trans
Yahoo,
men.
yikes.
Yahoo, yeah. I ain't no spring chicken over here. Oh man. It was a Yahoo group, 400 black trans men. And that's where I got all my resources from. Like they were exchanging information on doctors, on surgeons, on creating care packages and care teams, and strategizing travel for folks who needed to get to doctors and folks who needed to get to their surgeons and doing aftercare. So there was a lot of community that was built in these online spaces. And I always say that because people try to treat things that happen online as if it's not real. Things that happen there are very real. This is where I found my first community. This is where I found my wife. You know what I'm saying? Real things happen there. Real relationships are built there. So I think for folks who don't have the benefit of living on the East or West Coast, if you're in one of these flyover states, or if you're in some place internationally where you're under some kind of conservative government or more conservative constraints, online community is a really great place to get these resources and talk to like-minded people so you don't feel so alone.
And what did you say the name of that center was?
The Callan Lord Center.
Callan Lord Center.
Callan after Audre Lorde.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Next listener question is, should trans Black women demand access to cis Black women spaces, or should cis Black women have their own space and that be okay?
So y'all really trying to do it to me.
Oh, no. Listen. Listener questions.
This is okay. So this is what I think. I think that first, let me say this. I think that trans women are women. Okay? Point blank. I think that trans women are women. And I do not think that trans women pose any kind of predatory threat to women and to cisgender women in women's spaces.
I agree.
I don't think so at all. Okay? So I think that trans women and cis women should be able to operate in the same spaces.
Agreed.
100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just we're all Black women, whatever. We're just women, right? Yeah. So we can exist in the same space and be okay. What's the problem?
Yeah, it's fine. Nobody checking for you.
Right.
Everybody's fine. Everybody's fine.
Okay. So the second to last question.
Sure.
Are the steps to top surgery a difficult process?
Top surgery. For me, top surgery wasn't hard, again, because I'm in New York City. Okay, so let me tell you my top surgery story. A buddy of mine got his top surgery, and I was like, I need my shit done too. So he was like, this is what you do. Go to NYU Medical and ask for Dr. Hazen, right? So Dr. Hazen did breast cancer surgery. Okay, she was an ally to the community. So this is the time I got my surgery done in 2011. This is before a lot of private insurances were covering trans healthcare. So what she would do after hours was she would have a meeting with trans men, like a group meeting with trans men, and talk to us about how she could get our surgeries done for us, right? And one of the things she told us, like, if you're male and everything, try to stay female on your insurance. Stay female on your insurance. Go through and these are all the tests that I need you to get done. So get these tests done, and then what's going to happen is you're going to get approved to have surgery as a preventative measure towards cancer. Now, for me, my grandmother died of cancer, my auntie died of cancer, later on my mother died of breast cancer. So for me, it wasn't, something that runs in my family. I stayed female on my insurance for a few years, went through a battery of tests, and I was able to get it done that way. And also, I also had the privilege of having a full-time job that paid a good salary, a decent salary. So I didn't have to come out of my pocket. All I had to do was pay a $500 copay. And I stayed in the hospital for 3 days, and I was able to get surgery done by two amazing women surgeons. That's for me. Now, from now, what I understand, lots of private insurances cover trans-related healthcare, cover trans-related surgeries, and I think Medicaid also covers it as well.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
So, but that depends. But it also depends on what state you're in.
Yeah.
You're in the South. You're in the South. You're gonna have to come up off that money. You know what I'm saying? And I think, like, right now, from what I understand, top surgery can run between like $8,000 to $15,000. So I think the challenge is, do you have insurance that's going to cover it? Do you have access to really good doctors? Because all these doctors aren't good. I've seen some guys get top surgery, and I'm gonna be honest, getting top surgery for male surgeons. Some of the male surgeons I've seen have just butchered some of these guys.
What?
Yeah, I've seen some guys who've had really bad surgery from male doctors.
Intentionally, or just like, fuck it? Like,
maybe it's just a little bit of both.
Eek.
Like, yeah, like, I don't know. I've seen some guys who've had some really bad results from doctors who really didn't know what they were doing, who really didn't take their time. Not all the male surgeons. I know there's some male surgeons who do a really good job. I've seen some guys have some really infections and nipples falling off, all kinds of shit.
Oh, shit.
They take them off and then you got to reattach them shits.
I need my nipples, bro.
You got to reattach their joints. You know what I'm saying? They look a little different, but they're there. But I think it's a bunch of different factors that we have to consider before we can really gauge what is difficult and what isn't. So being in a major liberal city is super helpful. Being gainfully employed in a full-time job, private insurance is really helpful. And having access to funds is really helpful. So if those three things are working for you, then they're going to be definitely a lot of challenges that I haven't went through. And it's going to be a longer road for folks. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for answering our listener questions. We just kind of want to wrap up by supporting you in some of the events that you have going on. So you had mentioned, Tiq, that the Trans March is happening, and when is that?
So the Trans March is happening. Trans March on DC is happening on the 28th, so that's happening this Saturday.
Wow.
I'm hosting. I have a bunch of different speakers. My girl Angelica Ross from Pose and from American Horror Story is going to be one of our featured speakers, which is going to be great. That's like my girl. She's one of my closest friends. I just call her my work wife. We're both working in a nonprofit, and I'm just so proud of her. To see she's come so far since 2014. We were both just broke and hustling doing this nonprofit bullshit. To see her star rise, to see her shine. I'm so happy for her. So proud of her. She's going to be there. A bunch of other people are going to be there to celebrate trans people. And there's going to be a march just talking about trans rights. 19 Black trans women have been murdered this year. And then also thinking about like trans people who are stuck at the border, who are incarcerated because, they're just coming here for a better life. There's so many trans people who are intersecting with so many different issues. Oftentimes we get overlooked. So this is our way of saying you're not going to overlook us and that we exist. And also, there's going to be a large contingent of trans men there too many times trans men, we are getting erased. Shout out to my boy Marquise Wilson, who has started a campaign of trans masculine history, and every day he has been profiling different trans men who have been really instrumental in our community. So shout out to him for doing that work, because nobody else is doing that, particularly for Black trans men. So there's going to be a lot of brothers down there as well, making sure that people see us, know that we hear, and know that we also have needs too that often aren't looked at in community. So it's going to be great. So if anybody who's listening is going to be in the DC area, come through. We're going to be in DC Transmarch. You can go ahead and just Google it. I think it's like transmarchdc.org. Check us out and come and support.
Absolutely. So by the time that this is launched, this will actually have happened, but we'll be promoting it though on the 28th and before that to make sure that folks are aware. Absolutely. Anything that you post, we will reshare. And I know for the last thing you also mentioned was the Human Rights Campaign. So you tell us about what you're doing there?
Oh, I'm just going to their annual gala. So the Human Rights Campaign is like the biggest LGBT advocacy organization, maybe in the United States or maybe globally. So I have some folks over there. So they're having their huge annual gala on Saturday, and I'll just be there. I'm about to go try my tux on now, make sure I look good.
Okay. You should have worn a tux to this.
Yeah, I had to go. I rented a tux. I ain't buying this shit. Right?
Did you go traditional or did you go for like a different color?
I went traditional, black.
Okay.
It's a pretty formal affair. So
can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with black, baby.
I didn't do the bow tie though, so I'm not doing that. My neck is too thick for bow ties. So I'll be in the shit with y'all. I got a regular tie, but yes, I'm doing that as well to support some people who are close to me who are at the organization. So.
All right. Thank you so much, Tiq, for joining us. You don't need any more followers, but if you'd like to follow Tiq, it is at the Mr. Milan. We will have that all in the description. Again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.